Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we are breaking down our picks for the top 5 and one worst level 5 ranger spells.
We are at a tier of play where you are getting 5th level spells when other characters are getting 9th level spells. So it is difficult to say any of these are really great. But there are some that are worse than others. One in particular I think is better than the most, but the others are sure.
Well, with ranger spells, or I guess half-caster in general, you gotta, I don't know, get more, anything damaging is gonna be less fun because, yeah, that's like you said, you're getting a 5th level spell when other people are getting 9th level spells. So I value utility a lot more in these, or just doing something unique and different. And
that's where they're going to feel their best.
This list doesn't really do it for me.
No, it's pretty terrible. The other consideration, right, is when you're playing a half-caster like a paladin or a ranger or an artificer, a lot of your build is dedicated to what your actions spent on, and that's attacking a lot of the time, right? So in a ranger, you're sharpshooting twice a turn. You're doing pew, 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 big +10 damage arrows, slinging them all over the place, doing big numbers. You don't want to forego that for worse damage than fireball, right? You don't want to do a bad spell effect in place of what the thing you've been building this entire game to do well. Really, you don't want to have to forego that. That's going to make spells that enhance your attack rolls a lot better, and spells that don't enhance your attack rolls at all a lot worse, because again, the comparative drawback is you're having a much larger cost for action because you're foregoing a different, better action. So it makes, like you said, the damage ones quite a bit worse. But yeah, the non-damage ones at least can be interesting. Maybe sometimes one of them I think is interesting and the others don't exist. So that leaves us with a list that I'm really bummed out by.
Yeah, I'm looking at the non-combat spells. And yeah, one of them yeah, one's interesting, one's perhaps usable, and the other, meh.
Yeah. I rank mine best to worst, 1 to 5. Bob doesn't rank his, though, because he's a coward and he can't stick to the decision.
That's true. You can't stick to decisions either. You change them midstream, but yeah,
all the time.
You're willing to put yourself on the line there. I'm not willing to make that kind of commitment.
That's fair. You want to go first?
All right. Yeah, let's see. Let me get my list up here. I think I'm gonna guess you have Swift Quiver.
My number 1. Yeah. I would say the only good 5th level ranger spell is Swift Quiver.
Now, I have God, I wish I had done more research before doing this video, but I have seen recently some criticism of Swift Quiver. It's not a universally beloved spell.
The cost of concentration is a little bit high.
Yeah.
And also it's a better bard spell than it is a ranger spell, because bards get it at 9th, or you can get it at 11th level or 10th level with magical secrets. So they're swords bards and stuff can do what a ranger can do at 17th level, 11th level, which is a bummer. But beyond that, I don't have much issue with this. It's 2 extra attacks for bonus action each turn. If your bonus action isn't committed to doing something, which a lot of rangers can make happen, this is exceptional, right? You bonus action and get your Swift Quiver out, and then every turn past that, you're making an extra 2 attacks for a 5th level spell slot. You're doing that twice per long rest. That's pretty solid. It overlaps with a Hunter's Mark and stuff, but I would much rather have 2 more sharpshooter shots than 2 extra or an extra D6 per hit.
How many attacks are you getting at this point?
So rangers, base ranger of agnostic subclass is making 1 extra attack. It's just 5th level to get extra attack. There's no more. Now, a lot of subclasses like Gloomstalker and Hunter give extra attacks in some other different ways. Most of them either they can get extra attacks because they have a companion like a Drake or a Beast, or they have other ways to kind of dip into and get more attacks.
Standard attacks.
Yeah, base ranger, extra attack 5th level, you get 2. So this doubles your attacks.
Yes, so you're getting 4 attacks. That's great.
Yeah, someone casts haste on you. You're now working with 5. That feels pretty good.
And all the sharpshooter can apply to all of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is one of those rare features where getting a 5th level spell at 17th level when it's this spell means all of the things you've built up to this point stack into it to make it better than a like this as a wizard spell will be uniquely worse than it is as a ranger spell, because rangers can actually use the weapon attack rolls with their swift quiver better than the wizard typically can. Bards unfortunately can kind of build towards it. They don't get the fight. They can get the fighting style. Wow, yeah, bards definitely do this better, but that's that's unfair because bards can do a lot of things really well. And that's a corner case. This is mainly a ranger spell. It's mainly what you do in the upper tiers. If you want to close out your top end ranger fantasy, swift quiver is great.
Yeah, rangers need this.
Yeah, because they got nothing else. My number 2. If we're gonna move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, now we get into the interesting stuff. Okay, so I think my number 2 is Wrath of Nature, which is weird and niche, and at 17th level not that useful, which is a great way to start.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't rank mine, but yeah, these were the first 2 I picked. They were the easiest decisions to make on this list.
It also, like, this directly competes with swift quiver, so this is probably what you take if you're the martial ranger, right? If you're like I attack with a great sword over and over again, and I want something else to do with my bonus action, Wrath of Nature maybe? And like rocks in your you could just throw around for a bonus 3d8 damage a turn, and then you can also have like hopefully roots and vines or trees or grass and undergrowth. At least one of those is also along with the rocks. I think rocks is the most obviously apparent one, and the moment you get into foliage, you're a little bit like, oh, this is uniquely only usable in like wooded environments or like heavily natural environments, which means, the Abyss isn't going to be the easiest place to find a use for Wrath of Nature, or, a Jin's Palace or a Freet's, the giant flaming castle. You're going to be like, oh, this is almost entirely dead, but still it gives you a bunch of different stuff. So maybe it's better than the rest of these options.
Yeah, I'm looking through it right now. And I'm trying to think, is there a time when you would choose this over Swift Quiver? And it's all right. It looks like there's 2 effects here that will affect as many enemies as are in range or in the area, and then 2 that only attack 1 enemy. Is that right?
Basically, you get difficult terrain for a bunch of things. You have trees that do area effect damage at the start of your turns. You have roots and vines that at the end of your turns restrain a thing, and you have rocks that you can throw at stuff. Yeah, they all work with a different piece of your action, so you can kind of like, if you can get all of them, it's pretty solid, because you get the 46 area damage on trees, you get the 3d8 damage on rocks, you get a single target restrain with roots and vines every turn, and you get the difficult terrain. Assuming you can use that, you get the difficult terrain as well. So all of it together, if you can get it all to line up, is pretty decent.
But that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, and this very much feels like, oh, as a druid at 9th level, that's just fine. Like at 17th level, it's a lot less fine. Like I'm not thrilled that I need trees to do just 46 damage whenever the wizards like Meteor Rain or Meteor Swarm take 40d6 damage, or even like lower level stuff like shaped or like animal forms. Like everyone's a giant scorpion now. All those peasants we brought with us, all those kobolds, they're giant scorpions. Go get them, team. That's gonna do a heck of a lot more than this ever can.
Yeah, if I don't know, if I want an effect like this, I'm just going to use plant growth and then shoot them.
Yeah, you can get this effect. Most of what you would get here, you can tend to get way cheaper.
Yeah.
And like for longer durations. Or like that also do other things. Like Entangle is not that much worse than this in a lot of environments. That's a 1st level spell. So, and this is the 2nd best ranger option we got.
That's what I was thinking. Speaking of number 2.
Yeah. So where are you at next?
I don't even know. Let's see. All right, I picked Steel Wind Strike. Did that make your list?
Of the damaging options that wizard or rangers get.
Yes, but it looks like fun.
It does look like fun. We have a great video on Steel Wind Strike I would recommend people go watch, where we talk about it pretty in depth as to how this probably should have been built to be a ranger spell, work with the attack action, and has no reason whatsoever to make a spell attack roll instead. This should be letting characters make a regular weapon attack roll and have it be the top end fantasy for ranger. Instead, they also gave it to wizards and hamstrung it. So if you're a ranger and you have Steel Wind Strike, you have to have a +5 you want a high wisdom and a high dispel to hit, which again is not what you're building towards at all for this to be particularly effective. And then it's still just 5 spell attacks for 60-10 damage, which is just usually worse than a better AoE effect. Steel Wind Strike is
it's 60-10 damage each, right?
Yeah, on each
Yeah.
hit.
That's pretty decent, right?
It's a 5th level spell. If we pull out the good old fashioned dice calculator, right? We know that Fireball is doing 10d6, and when you look at that, those numbers are just inverted. So 60-10 is 5th level Fireball damage, but in conceivably, actually, it's lower on average because you're rolling less dice, which means your floor is. It's slightly worse than a 5th level Fireball. It's using an attack modifier you don't want to do. It does no damage on half, right? If you make 5 attacks and one of them misses, it doesn't take any damage, where Fireball will always affect all of them and will always do at least half damage.
Oh, and this comes with a teleportation thing too, which is not super amazing.
Which is limited to the 30-foot range.
Yeah, and you're teleporting next to, like, within 5 feet of somebody that you just hit.
Yeah.
Or missed.
With your, again, probably not maximized. Like, if you take any feats, you don't have a lot of room to max out your wisdom modifier that quickly. I guess 70 level, you might have your room to max out your wisdom that quickly, but, like, do you want to max your wisdom? Maybe.
For this.
Yeah. Like, you could just be making 2 attacks. Like, if you get a Swift, you're making 4 attacks, and then you would be making 4 attacks with sharpshooters and stuff, as opposed to attacks with 60-10 force damage. And then you could have it for the whole fight, as opposed to a single round. You don't need that many rounds to see that damage be as, like, 2 sharpshooter shots are doing, assuming both hit, 30 damage base from plus 5 for dex, plus 10 for damage, right? So this on average does 33 damage. So, like, it doesn't take more than 2 rounds for sharpshooter with swift cover to be way out damaging this with a modifier you care about and have more upside. So, like, I'm not a fan of Steel Wind Strike. I think this is a pretty awful ranger spell.
Yeah, well, that's the list we got. So did this not make your list? It's a short list.
It's not. Yeah, it currently is not on my list.
Okay.
Because Conjure Volley is. So this is, or sorry, the Conjure Volley is my number 4. I guess I'll talk about it right now because it's my comparable one. This is 88 damage in a 40-foot high, 40-foot radius, 20-foot cylinder centered on a point with a deck save. And it always does half damage. And 88 is less than Fireball damage, but it always doing half damage means I think this is better than Steel Wind Strike. It's got a way better range, at least, and it hits any number of creatures as opposed to just 5. So, like, if you are against a horde, you can at least have an area of effect attack that is somewhat useful, would be where I would stand with this. And again, you would be like, oh, wow, Wizards can do this at level 3 or level 5, huh? I can do it at level 17. That's a bummer. But I think it's better.
I don't know. It didn't make mine.
Yeah, it was going to be this or Steel Wind Strike. I think it's going to make either of our lists, and we're not.
I got suckered into picking Steel Wind Strike because of the teleportation thing, but looking back over it, that's not very good.
Not really. Again, 30-foot range is so small. You have to be able to move to the thing you're teleporting to, and you can only teleport next to creatures, and that's still going to be at least some kind of interesting. It's going to look cool. It's going to easily sells the fantasy of, you teleport, slash.
Yeah.
But, like, in practice, you're like, I probably should have shot twice.
Yeah.
If you're the melee ranger, maybe, but then you have to also juggle a strength score sometimes, and there's just a lot of other problems that start to crop up whenever you're doing that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't want this on my character sheet, but I don't really want Conjure Volley on my character sheet either for what that's working. So,
yeah, I'm not a fan of Conjure Volley. We're up to 5th level. We still got like summon spells that I think are going to be more effective than this.
Yeah, I would much rather have a 4th level summon spell cast over Conjure Volley most of the time. I would even spend a 5th level slot if a concentration goes down and get it back up. Like, Summon Beast upcast will be better than Conjure Volley over a long term, I think. But this is still if you're in the single encounter where you're against 30 creatures, this hits all of them sometimes. Like 30 little minion demons running out of a gate, you just be like, okay, great, I'll Conjure Volley there because this wizard ran out of 3rd level slots, I guess, or the cleric doesn't have Spirit Guardians or, something like that. There's so many classes that can do this so much better for way cheaper resources. And that makes, like you prefaced this earlier with, the damage options pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
Poor Rangers, man.
Half-casters
and the upper tiers have it raw. Yeah, what else you got?
All right. This is one I think might surprise you.
Okay.
I picked Tree Stride.
That's my number 3.
Is it? All right.
Yep.
Now, the reason I thought it might surprise you is because I had some opinions on transport via plants.
It's true. There were some Winnie the Pooh comments that were made, if I remember correctly.
It does kind of the same thing. Says you have to go inside a tree and you come outside another tree, which I still think is stupid. But in this case, I'm going to ignore that text in favor of what I feel like this should look like. And it doesn't change the mechanics of it. Like I'm picturing, all right, you're a ranger. You're in the woods sneaking around. People catch a glimpse of you as you disappear behind a tree, and then you reappear behind a different tree in another place. Now that looks cool.
Sure does.
That is not Winnie the Poohing your ass inside of a tree.
I still stand by that the Gnome Ranger that Winnie the Pooh's their ass into a tree and out of another one and shoots someone in the butt is adorable and incredible and exactly what D&D is all about. But you can also do the cool badass Legolas stuff if you want. Like, sure, I guess that's also fine.
So, yeah, utility. I think this one's all right.
Yep, you have to have trees, which is a big problem at 17th level. Again, we're in a tier of play where you're fighting like Krakens, and you're on the Astral Sea fighting, on Mind Flayer ships and stuff in a lot of campaigns. Where sometimes maybe if we're in the Feywild, it's probably pretty usable, but if you're in like the Abyss, if you're in Tartarus, if you're in like, any of the other planes of existence, it's pretty bad. A lot of material planes, you're going to be in dungeons and stuff, big layers, big wizard towers, big citadels, top-end fantasy stuff. Might just be like there aren't trees near you, like within 500 feet of you, and that makes this dead. On top of that, we can say, well, how does this compare to something like Dimension Door, which is I can just teleport anywhere for cheaper with a buddy once. Is that better or worse than Tree Start? I think it's way better and cheaper somehow.
Well, this has different uses than Dimension Door. This is something you keep going over and over again. This is the skirmisher teleport.
But so here's a really important question. How useful is that flexibility, right? How useful is it to enter into a tree, exit another tree, enter into that same tree next turn, exit from a different tree? Like, how useful is the constant repositioning?
I don't care. I'm using it because it's awesome.
I agree that it looks sweet, and that's why it made my list. I still think it's wildly impractical.
Yeah.
And if it were at 9th level, I'd be like, at least it's cool and you can look cool for the rest of the game. But are you telling me a 17th level character is going to find some value in being in 2 different locations over 3 different turns? Like, I don't. Like, for the 500-foot radius, assuming there's trees there?
Well, there's going to be trees there. I don't know. You could probably find some use for it, but maybe not.
You could also just run. Like, you could
just move. Does not look cool at all.
I agree that it looks less cool, but it's probably as effective in most environments than Tree Stride is. Tree Stride, you need so many things to go right for it to be good. I think Tree Stride would be actually a really fun, no concentration, one use spell at like a first level where you could just be like, you teleport from a tree to another tree within 500 feet. That sounds sweet. Like, even bonus action. Give me a easy, cheap way to do this effect affordably so that you can have the cool look of being like, shooting, jumping behind trees, Winnie the Poohing into trees, phasing into one like a dryad and walking out of another one in the courtyard. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it. It's just way over cost. This should not be a 5th level spell.
That's true.
It's so expensive.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what they thought was so powerful about this.
I have no idea. I have zero clue. The DM can deliberately choose where trees exist to give players access to ways to use it in interesting ways, and they can also choose not to put trees places, and this spell doesn't have text in those environments. As written, this could be a 2nd level spell, and I'd be like, it's still not that good, but maybe at least it's fun. It's got some cute utility. If you want to do this commercial thing, you can do it cheaply. This isn't cheap.
No.
This is a 17th level, 5th level spell, and it's still made my list. I feel like I'm talking about a worst spell right now, being like, look at all the problems with this piece of crap. And I'm like, it's my number 3.
All right. Well, what else you got?
Okay. So I wanted to pick Freedom of the Winds, which is from the Tal'Dorei campaign setting Reborn, but I don't think that's canonical, so I'm not going to go with it. I'm going to forego that one for now. We're going to table that discussion, and we'll circle back around commoners. If you want me to talk more about the Tal'Dorei books, and, let us know. Say you're interested in whatever that off-brand D&D adjacent Critical Role stuff is. So instead, I'm going to pick... and it's going to pay me to do it. I'm gonna pick Commune with Nature as
Yeah,
my number
that also
5,
made my list. Oh,
which
is that the
is
one you thought was going to be my worst?
sure did.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I actually went and read the spell description. This is not commune. This is not DM. Please give me the answer. So yeah,
It's
uh,
kind of like a map,
yeah, it's a map.
kind of. You just be like, I want to know where there are prevalent plants and minerals. You find that out. I want to know where there's influence from other planes of existence, and you find that out. It's a ritual spell, which doesn't matter to you because you're a ranger and you don't get ritual casting, so that's a bummer. I think maybe it should be my worst over Steelwind Strike, but like, I really hate Steelwind Strike, and I don't really hate Commune with Nature, so like, it's not good. I don't think you should ever prepare it. Like, I don't think you should ever learn it as a ranger. By this stage, you're a 17th level ranger, and you need to still ask God as to where the nearest body of water is whenever you've got like a plus 13 to survival. That doesn't seem like where you should be, right?
Yeah, this made my list strictly because my options were so limited, and yeah, I the same reason as you. Spoiler alert. Oh wait, no, you haven't gotten to your worst yet.
I
Uh,
spoiled it earlier, but we'll touch
oh,
on
did
it in
you?
a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll save mine too. But
Okay.
yeah, this is a map.
Sure is. And it's not
I
like all
guess
the details in the map. You have to
it'll
cast it
tell
multiple
you if there's
times.
like undead or something in the area. So if that
If they're
wasn't the
powerful,
yeah, oh
they have to
well,
be powerful.
all right. Well, if that wasn't the case yesterday, then you use it. It's like, oh shit. Well, that's something we should be on the lookout for.
You also have to be above ground, and it has to be within 3 miles of you.
Yeah, 3 miles is pretty big.
How big is like the state of Kentucky? Pretty large, more than
There's
3 miles.
there are a lot of undead there.
Most cities are larger than 3 miles. I feel
Yeah.
like the numbers in this game are very small when it comes to these kinds of effects. I feel like it probably should be like 150 miles for a 17th level feature. But granted, this is supposed to be coming at 9th level, so that's just sucks to be ranger, I guess.
Yeah, man. Look, I know they're half casters, and look, spells aren't really their forte. But if you are a caster at all, and this list is the pinnacle of your casting ability that you've been working toward, like nobody's getting excited about these spells.
Yeah, it's like I've talked about this to some degree before. Swiftquiver makes the top of both of our lists for a very clear reason, because it was designed to be the top end ranger spell fantasy. And like I said earlier, it's uniquely good when put on the ranger class. So other characters with 5th level spells, it can be akin to those if they are in a vacuum. But whenever you take into account what Ranger builds towards and what Ranger incorporates with their subclasses, what Ranger incorporates with their attack actions, Swiftquiver is worth more than a regular 5th level spell slot is on this specific half-caster. There should be more of these. There should be more spells that are Ranger exclusives, that are Paladin exclusives, that are Artificer exclusives, that give them a unique, powerful thing that is worth more on their characters than a typical 5th level spell slot is, for them to feel like they're doing new, impactful, and exciting things. If you ever take a spell and go, oh, my ally has been doing that for 8 levels now, you kind of go, what are we doing here? Like, why did I put this on my character sheet whenever I've been watching a character lower level than me do it for over half the game? It's a huge design problem, and it's why it's one of the compounding factors to why upper tier play is usually regarded as a mess, because it is. It's the barbarian does the same same action every turn, has next to no impact, and then one bard is making sure the lich doesn't get away, locking down a huge area with giant powerful spells, using bonus actions to conspire people to change outcomes of things with like 6 different options at their disposal on every given turn. And it's like, well, they're not playing the same game anymore. What are we doing here? Come on. The martial characters need more to keep up with the versatility and power that comes in the upper tiers, and these options do not deliver that.
No. All right, is it time?
Sure, lead it off, Bob. What's the worst ranger fit level spell?
Let's go over our quote unquote best.
Sure.
What do you got?
Mine. Swift Quiver is number 1. Wrath of Nature is number 2, which is like where the first big question mark comes in. And then where the real red flags start going up is Tree Stride is number 3, baby. I have Conjure Volley as my number 4. Might be my number 5. And Community with Nature is the other, like, both of these are really bad. But, like, I think I put Conjure Volley on my sheet before I put Community with Nature on my sheet. So it'll be 4 and 5 in that order.
Okay. I think we got a similar list here. Well, we have to because there's like
7 of these.
7 spells.
Yeah.
I've got Wrath of Nature, Swift Quiver, Steel Wind Strike, Tree Stride, and Commune with Nature. And yeah, like you, I'm excited about Swift Quiver and nothing else.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to be excited about more things, but there's nothing else to get excited about. Steel Wind Strike could have been really cool.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying Steel Wind Strike could have been really cool, but instead it's my worst. Instead, Steel Wind Strike is actively really terrible on Ranger. It's a really short range, way worse than Fireball by like all accounts, and it's something you as a Ranger get a 17th level that your Wizard got it way earlier and does way better than you, because they have at least a good modifier.
Okay. We went the opposite direction on that. I chose Conjure Volley as my worst. But yeah, they could be swapped out and I wouldn't care.
Both these are terrible.
Yeah.
They're AoE damage spells that are often going to be not worth their cost for your turn because you already have a really good action, which is attack, which is use your subclass features, use your core features, enhance your features with other spells like Hunter's Mark, right? Like you've got a lot of things that are going to make one action better, forgoing that action for a mediocre area of effect damage spell. Steel Wind Strike is even more mediocre because you only can hit 5 things, but you know, they're both terrible, and you probably don't want to be using either.
Oh, this feels like kind of a downer to close out our Ranger lists like this.
Yeah, listen, commenters, let me know why Swift Quiver is also terrible. I would love to have all of my hopes for the top-end Ranger fantasy to be squashed into a small, fine pulp. That'd be great.
Yeah, or anything else. Just say some things. Leave some comments. Let us know your list. Let us know even better, let us know how these other spells are really awesome.
Yeah, I would also love to hear about like your experiences playing Rangers past 15th level if you have any. It doesn't happen often, but like I've seen it happen twice, and both those times those characters were glorified fighters. So like, yeah, sure, you attack a lot, and that's what you have to do because you don't do anything else while the wizards are, you know, doing the real game.
They're at the grown-ups table.
Yeah, you got the full casters doing the grown-up things, and you got the half casters that are there for the comic relief. That's what it tends to boil down to. You take attacks, you take hits, and the spellcasters play the game.
All right, that was level 5 Ranger spells. Tune in next week for whatever spells we cover then. And go back and look at our bards and clerics and wizard spell level stuff. Yeah, and click the like button and leave a comment and the bell and subscribe. That one's important. And we'll see you later. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.